A young man called Armin goes to a restaurant with his girlfriend. Out of nowhere, a man joins their table, excited to see Armin. The man calls his daughter and tells her he just met her fiancé, Armin, who somehow forgot to mention he already has a girlfriend. Armin quickly runs away to escape the awkward situation. Meanwhile, another young man, Tursun, arrives home to his wife, Alina. He happily announces he bought her a gift for their wedding anniversary. Alina is thrilled, hoping it's a car, but instead, it turns out to be a washing machine. Disappointed, Alina sinks back onto the couch. Suddenly, Tursun notices their shared savings are missing. Alina admits she spent the money on a dress and mentions her friend, whose husband gave her a trip to Europe for their anniversary. Frustrated, she tells Tursun to take out the trash. At that moment, Armin calls Tursun. Tursun pretends in front of Alina that his friend is jealous of their new washing machine and asks her to cook something for him. But Alina, still upset, brings up her friend's husband again, saying he spends his time relaxing at a cafe with friends. Frustrated, Tursun takes out the trash and finds Armin hiding between the dumpsters. Armin asks to stay at Tursun's place, but knowing how Alina would react, Tursun suggests they go to a cafe instead. The friends flag down a taxi driven by a prankster named Tima. After some bargaining over the fare, the three drive off. On the way, Armin explains how he ran into the father of one of his girlfriends, who was serious about their relationship, unlike Armin. Tursun advises him to settle down, mentioning that he's married, has a 25-year mortgage, and just bought a washing machine. However, Tursun realizes he forgot to tell Alina he had left the house. He quickly calls her, praising the new washing machine, but Alina sarcastically suggests he marry the washing machine and hangs up on him. Tima, the taxi driver, jokes that he has a perfect relationship with his car, which he lovingly calls his swallow. Suddenly, the car gets stuck in traffic. While waiting, they notice a pink car on the roadside and a girl struggling to figure out why her car won't start. She asks for their help, but the guys refuse, teasing her about her driving skills. They continue their journey until a police patrol stops them. It turns out Tima's driver's license has expired, and the officer orders the car to be towed to an impound lot. Stranded without transportation, the guys start hailing another ride. Unexpectedly, the same pink car pulls up. The girl, now driving it as a taxi, admits she usually doesn't pick up male passengers but decided to help since they looked stuck. At that moment, Tursun remembers his wife, feeling guilty. Armin, unable to hold back, confesses they overheard what Alina said on the phone and assures Tursun there's no need to pretend his marriage is perfect. Eventually, the guys conclude that all their troubles stem from women. Tima jokes that he would have handled things better if the police officer had been a woman. Armin dreams of a world where girls don't have brothers or fathers, and Tursun reflects on his wife's friend's husband, who always seems to outshine him. Suddenly, the driver Sophia, amused by their complaints, offers to take them to a world where only women exist. Intrigued, the group agrees, and soon they arrive at a bar. Sophia, smiling at their fantasies, refuses to take money, wishing them good luck before driving off. Tima decides to head off on his own, while Armin and Tursun step into the bar. Inside the bar, the guys are shocked to see that it's filled only with women, who scream with excitement upon their arrival. Confused, Armin and Tursun don't understand the commotion. Soon, drinks begin arriving from all the tables, and a waitress announces that everything is free for them, and they can relax and enjoy. Still stunned, Armin grabs his phone but is surprised to see that all his male contacts have vanished. Tursun causes a burst of laughter when he asks the waitress to switch the TV to a men's soccer match. The waitress calmly explains that there are only 3 men in the world, and for a soccer game, they need at least 22 players. Remembering Sophia's words, Tursun asked about the men's bathroom. The waitress apologizes, explaining they never expected men to visit the bar. The guys hurried outside, and are shocked to realize they are in a world of women. Tima suddenly shows up, saying even the police officers here are women. Sophia approached them again, confused by their reaction. Didn't they want to be in a world without men? She then tells them they would spend an entire day in this paradise, with no annoying friends, husbands, brothers, fathers, or male police officers. However, she adds that they are now listed in the Red Book. However, they wouldn't be able to take photos or record anything. Those are the rules. No evidence of the women's world is allowed. Sophia hands the keys to Tima's car, which is nearby. In this world, towing his car was forbidden because he was the only male taxi driver. While the friends celebrated, Tursun soon felt uneasy, unsure how Alina would react. Sophia reassured him that, in their world, only a second would pass, and no one would notice their absence. Armin suggested they make the most of their time, as such happiness might never come again. The guys rush to the car and drive around the city, enjoying all the attention from the women. Tima starts thinking about the kind of fares he could charge here, while Tursun asks to be taken home despite Armin's protests. Suddenly, they are stopped by a female police officer who treats them very sternly. She orders Tima to step out of the car, but as he does, she surprises him by kissing him and then running off, apologizing for misusing her authority. The trio eventually ends up at a club, where they party hard, reveling in the endless attention. A waitress Armin had flirted with earlier surprises him by refusing to talk to him. When he insists, she says he's too full of himself and wishes him a good evening. Her words hurt his pride, but Tursun feels happy, thinking it's nice that women like her still exist. The group keeps dancing and drinking until a security guard tells Tima someone is waiting for him outside. Curious, Tima steps out and sees Olga, the police officer. Not wanting to be noticed, he quickly hides and goes back to the group, telling them that the traffic cop has tracked him down. Tursun eagerly agrees to the idea of leaving the club, eager to head home. But Armin, determined to keep the party going, insists they drop off their married friend and then continue until morning. However, when the waitress brings the bill, they're shocked. It's massive. The club's rule is that while men eat and drink for free, they have to pay for everything the women order. Armin suggests staying until morning when their 24-hour free period ends, hoping to avoid the bill. Just then, they notice men surrounding them from all sides. Terrified, the three rush outside and find Sophia waiting for them. She reveals the club's hidden rule. During these 24 hours, the men cannot refuse any request from women. If they do, they'll be trapped forever in a world inhabited only by men. She adds that they've already used up their one chance to make a mistake. Panicking, the guys empty their pockets and manage to scrape together just enough money to pay for the evening. As they leave, Tima spots Olga standing by his car. She invites him for a ride around the city, and knowing the rule, he has no choice but to accept. In the morning, the group splits up and heads their separate ways. Meanwhile, Alina offers Tursun any breakfast he wants, telling him she's ready to do anything for her lucky husband. Wanting to make him happy, she suggests hosting a dinner and inviting Armin. She calls Armin, asking him to come over and bring some spices. Though hesitant, Armin agrees. When Armin steps outside, an elderly woman stops him and asks for help carrying her bag to her apartment. Remembering the rule, Armin has no choice but to help. At the same time, Tima hears a radio ad inviting people to a fair. Annoyed, he switches it off, realizing the announcer is a woman. To his horror, he starts noticing the women around him slowly turning into men. Panic sets in as he realizes he must comply with every request to avoid being trapped. Meanwhile, Armin finds himself stuck at the elderly woman's apartment, preparing tea, doing laundry, and mopping her floors. Tursun, on the other hand, is living the dream. Alina serves him a delicious meal and eagerly fulfills his playful requests. She brings him slippers, tidies up the apartment, and even pretends to be a puppy. When he tries to take her photo, his phone turns off. Alina feels hurt and gets upset. Tursun comforts her and asks her not to make any more requests for the rest of the day. She agrees but quickly suggests going out since they rarely leave the house. He has no choice but to agree. Meanwhile, Armin finishes mopping the floors. Noticing the old woman is asleep, he quietly slips out of the apartment and hides in a park. A girl, doing painting, calls Armin over and asks him to help move her easel. To his surprise, he recognizes her as the unfriendly waitress from the bar. But this time, she smiles and explains that she hated her job there. Painting is her true passion. She introduces herself as Diana. Meanwhile, Tima encounters Olga on the road again. Following his GPS, he drives away, but Olga chases after him, shouting for him to stop. Every time he pauses, the female voice on the GPS urges him to keep driving. The chase goes on for a while until Olga finally catches up. Olga orders Tima to stop and demands that he follow her to the station. Meanwhile, Tursun and Alina are relaxing at a cafe. Tursun can't help but calculate how much it would cost if he had to pay for all the women present. Suddenly, an argument breaks out. The couple has unknowingly taken a table that was reserved. Alina suggests they leave, and Tursun eagerly agrees. At the same time, Armin is walking with Diana when a group of girls approaches him, asking for help to retrieve their toy stuck in a tree. Armin climbs the tree and manages to retrieve the toy, but he falls on his way down. Concerned, Diana takes him to a cafe. They relax, talk, and seem to develop feelings for each other. Suddenly, Diana starts to flicker, and Armin remembers the spices. Panicked, he apologizes and runs off, promising Diana he'll find her again. Meanwhile, Olga surprises Tima by taking him to a hotel. At the same time, Armin receives a promotional offer and ends up at a beauty salon, where he undergoes all the treatments, including waxing. Meanwhile, Tursun takes his wife to a special spot in the park where they used to enjoy spending time together. He treats her to sausage rolls, just like on their first date. Tima, unable to figure out how to escape from Olga's overly affectionate attention, hides in a bathroom. In a desperate move, he sets a napkin on fire, triggering the fire suppression system and forcing everyone to evacuate the building. Meanwhile, Armin calls Alina to let her know he bought the spices she asked for. She tells him to come another time, and he's happy to have fulfilled her request. He hurries back to Diana. Unfortunately, Armin runs into the elderly woman again, who asks him for a massage. Though reluctant, he agrees. Just then, Diana enters the apartment. She's the grandmother's granddaughter. The two of them leave together, and the grandmother shouts after them, telling them not to kiss. Meanwhile, Tima tries to hide from Olga in an elevator, but during the fire, the elevator locks, trapping him and getting him caught again. At Armin's request, Diana begins painting her own portrait, though she doesn't understand why he wants her to do so when they could just take a photo. Armin can't tell her the truth, so he just says they might not see each other again. This hurts Diana, and she gets upset, especially when Armin refuses to kiss her because his grandmother asked him not to. Sarcastically, she tells him to jump off the roof. Armin stands on the edge and asks her to stop him, but Diana stays quiet. Suddenly, a little girl from below screams and begs him not to jump, saying she has already finished her homework, which says there are only 3 men in the world. Armin happily agrees and explains to Diana that this is part of the game's rules. However, Diana only hears the word game and feels insulted, so she leaves. Armin takes the unfinished portrait with him. The guys meet up and talk about their day when Sophia arrives. She tells them that only those who were in her car can go back to their world. Suddenly, Armin steals Sophia's taxi and drives off to find Diana, determined to take her instead of Sophia. The problem is, he doesn't know where she lives. They arrive at the grandmother's house, and she leads them to Diana's place, but Diana refuses to open the door. The grandmother shouts up to Diana's window, praising Armin, but Diana insists that it was all just a game. Armin begs her to believe him, but she refuses to leave. The guys return to Sophia, who refuses to take them home and plans to leave alone. Armin apologizes, explaining his reasons and even offering to stay in this world forever. Sophia stays unmoved. Only when the guys fully apologize does she agree to take them back. The taxi drives through the city, and eventually, they return to the normal world. The guys thank Sophia, but she pretends not to understand what they're talking about. Just then, they respond to a request from another female taxi driver, asking for help to push her car. Tursun buys flowers for his wife and heads home, while Tima hugs a passing traffic officer. Armin starts searching for Sophia, visiting all the places they went to in her world, but without success. Later, Tursun sells the washing machine and takes his wife to the park. Armin visits Diana's apartment, but another woman lives there with her very jealous husband. Meanwhile, Tursun treats his wife to sausage rolls and gives her tickets to Paris. Tima retrieves his car and unexpectedly runs into Olga, who starts a conversation with him about his beloved car. The two find common ground. Armin, on the other hand, goes to an art school to have Diana's portrait finished. To his surprise, he sees Diana herself. They meet again for the first time and become a couple. During the credits, Tima takes Olga to a hotel, but this time, he's wearing a police uniform, determined to tweak a few of her memories. And with that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe so as to watch our latest uploads.